Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm at the I'm at the park where this is where I go to shoot hoops, and I may or may not shoot hoops today. Usually, that's something I do Sunday after I'm done doing all my stuff, and as well as working out and whatnot. I'll come here. It's about a good half a mile to get here from my home, and excuse me if you wonder why I'm burping so much. I'm having an angry orchard. Just happened to stumble across one. It was deep in the fridge, cold too. Because at the group home we got like two refrigerators. I got one refrigerator of my own, and there's two like in the garage. And I was making room. Somebody left a whole bunch of alcohol, and he's no longer there. So I moved all his stuff to put my booze in there. I stumbled across this Angry Orchard. So yeah, this is pretty much where I go, this time of night, preferably to shoot some hoops. And crazy thing is, I'm actually getting good at it. Like, I'm actually landing baskets instead of bricks. Because there's this other basketball court that's actually closer by, but I don't like that motherfucker because the rim is so closed in. So you literally have to be. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like an NBA standard basketball goal or basketball rim, but this one's wider. So I guess it's for average Joes like me, I guess, versus pros who can shoot a whole three, shoot all kinds of threes in a smaller within a smaller rim. It's crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to talking about what I have to talk about. But before, let me just make this announcement, and it is in reference to what I am about to talk about, is the fact that we just got a raise at my job. Because I'm either at, I honestly forgot where I'm at. I want to say I'm at I'm pretty sure I'm at, if I had to guess, I would say I'm currently making $25.60. Right. And so we got this raise and this bump up of pay. So after a few weeks in October, I'll be making $27.30. Yep. $27.30 at my job. So I guess that's something for announcements, right? And I don't say that to gloat. I don't say to point fingers and say neener, aha, and all that. To gloat at the people who are less fortunate. Because y'all know my story, or you should know my story. I came a long way to get to this point. A long way. So what little victories that I do get, oh, they're well warranted. They're well warranted. Because I came a long way to get to where I got to. But I say that in lieu of what's been going on, so much so that I've even seen, I saw the headline, I didn't, on YouTube, I didn't click on it, but I saw the headline of men basically throwing their hands up and walking away from work. because I saw the headline on 60 Minutes. It said men out of work. Yeah, it was like men, yeah, men not working. Because, there was a sign. I don't know if they still do it. But I don't know if they still have that sign. But y'all probably been through like highways and whatnot, and they'll see, construction site, and they'll have this big ass sign that says men working. So the headline for that was men not working. So after my years on the workforce and where I worked and what I experienced and what I've endured and what I've eventually, through my own intuition, bro, it's so crazy, bro, through my own intuition, not interacting with people, not interacting with my bros, not interacting with, I didn't get any of these ideas from other people, is what I'm trying to say. But it's so crazy how when I finally decided to basically stick a fork in the sand when it comes to women, that's when men started giving up on women. And ironically enough, the same thing happened with the job. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what am I talking about? You have a job. Yeah. And probably one of the best ones I ever had. And my job is tough. It ain't construction worker tough. Because my job it's lightweight compared to jobs that I've seen and some jobs that I've even done. Now, I could sit up here and talk about the entirety of my work history since I was 16, from On the Border, On the Border to Atlanta Bread Company to Hollywood Video, back when we had video stores like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, to Papa John's, to FedEx, to AutoZone, and then the temp agencies out in Memphis, like Adecco, CMOS, hell, Randstad, and the places they sent me, like the Nike factory. I could talk about that all day. I could go through all the horrific stories, or I could condense it, or I could just condense it to what I learned in the 26 years? Because I'm 38 now, right? And I've been working since, because I've been working since I was 16. So in the did I say 26 years? 22 years. Damn. Math is a little off today. Yeah, in the 22 years that I've been on the workforce, well, if you're wondering what's going on, take it from my point of view. Take it from a brother's point of view, if you will. Take it from a black man's perspective, especially a black man who grew up in Memphis and had to raise up out of Memphis just to come to a place, for greener pastures, if you will. Work sucks. Work sucks. And my God, do I feel sorry for people who, because, as bad as my experience is or has been on the job, I'm just thankful to God, and I'm thankful to Christ that I didn't have to work at no McDonald's, work at no Taco Bell, work at no Burger King, work at a burger joint. Because I just saw this video. I think it was somewhere in Florida where it was an older black woman too being we've seen the countless videos of black folks going to these McDonald's being ratchet as fuck. Can't just get their order and get the fuck up out the store. And if they get their order wrong, can't just go up in there, ask for their shit. I'm pretty sure the workers will be more than happy to give them their shit. Gotta just go up there and start some trouble. And since I'm talking about it, let's talk about black folks. Let's talk about some of my work experience, like Hollywood Video. Back when, like I said, the period literally 20 years ago, because it must have been like 2008 that they all these stores shut down. But we had video rental stores. And it's crazy too. It's real crazy. What's crazy, y'all? I just thought about it. We kind of still do have video rental stores, but the only rental stores that we have are the adult entertainment store. That came out of nowhere. Why did that come out of nowhere? Because even after, even after these video rental stores closed down, like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, when it comes to the adult entertainment industry, that didn't skip a beat. So yeah, folks are still renting. Shit, I don't even know who's hot in the biz now. Like shit, I don't even know who's the rage of today, because it ain't the rage of 20 years ago with Roxy Reynolds, Cheyenne Jacobs, Delata Brown, trying to think of this light skinned broad, the likes of Moan Divine and Cashmere song, just to name a few, just to name a few porn stars back in the day that I pretty much jacked my kids off to. I mean, just to name a few that Kelly Divine. Back in her heyday with that big old Woody. Just to name a few that I basically, shot all my kids off at. So, back to, get my head out of the gutter. Back to the Hollywood Video experience. Dumbass Negroes walking up in there, knowing damn well that they're, not only is their shit overdue, because they would charge your ass. And I'm like, that's how, and I was like, bro, I know it's fucked up, but that's how the system works. And it was a lofty system, and I wouldn't be surprised, bro. I would not be surprised with, let alone the Negroes that I encountered who had a problem with the, their late fees, bringing these videos and video games and whatnot, bringing that stuff back. I would not be surprised if even to this day, 20 years after the fact, that there are people who are probably still dealing with collection agencies dating back to that time. Because the thing about it was, after every, once you got a late fee, it would probably be it was anywhere from 50 cents to $1.25 or something. But bruh, after that, it would stack. It would be just like the bank. It'd be like the bank. And the crazy thing about banks now, bro, withdrawal fees or overdraft fees where your shit is in the negative, it's something serious now. I remember when them shits used to be, anywhere from $20 to $25. Bro, them shits are $36. So it's basically $40 if you have an overdraft fee. And if you ain't taking care of it, if you haven't taken care of it within a 3-day period, really a 2-day period, they charge you another damn near $40. But that's the bank though. So at the at Hollywood Video, it's more like $5 after so many days. And I can't tell you how many of these dumbass Negroes. And the thing about it is, we were required, and it's not like they had to pay it unless it was outstanding. Now, if the account was outstanding, and outstanding meant like it was usually like, I want to say like something past $200, maybe even $300. And yes, it got that bad. It got that ridiculous. And did we have some white folks in there with with overdraft fees or late due fees? Of course we did. Speaking of white folks, let me tell you a little bit about Papa John's when I was working there in Cordova, off North Germantown Parkway. Yeah, so like I said, I got this. This is why I be saying what I be saying when I say the things that I say about black folks, and I say the things that I say about white folks, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum. And all the foolishness that I encountered there at Papa John's. Not to mention Atlanta Bread Company. Y'all know the story I keep telling y'all about the Louisianan and the girl who was supposedly from France, but how she basically my first Karen experience. Because it's real interesting. It's real interesting that an introvert like me, or a supposed introvert anyway, probably didn't have the first prom, didn't have the first kiss, first blowjob. Our first as men. But, America just didn't have that for us. But what America did have was our first Karen experiences, our first accusation experience, just our first fuck shit. Now, having said that, no, I'm not a virgin. And I saw to that. Not to say that I e-part somebody. No, that ain't what I'm talking about. But did I have to pay for it? Yes. And I'm thankful. I'm grateful that there was I had to go to one of them juke joints. I had to go to one of them, seedy out of the way juke joints to get me some booty. And yeah, I paid for it, just like you niggas going down to the Rio in Colombia paying for it. And the only thing is, y'all ain't coming back alive. They snuffing y'all out. So yeah, in that case, entitlement, people who couldn't seem to understand that it takes time to not only make the pizza but get it out there. Bro, I could go into the things that I heard, seen, experienced, bro. Like I said, from Papa John's to on the bro. And the entitlement of the average American, just nasty attitude, entitlement, the whole thing. Like, it's not, you didn't put enough toppings on my pizza, or why I gotta pay this, or my sandwich wasn't big enough, or oh what's his name talked about coming to school with a gun. Yeah, I told y'all about that. And that was a coworker, bro. If you think the customer was bad, nigga, look at your coworkers, bro. Look at your coworkers. Your coworkers is fucked up, let alone these garbage ass customers. But my most exemplified, detailed example of what work is really like, that honor has to be given to the second job that I've worked the longest. Because my current job is the one that I've worked the longest, because it's the one that I've been here since. I mean, it's the one that I've been working since I've been out, since I moved out to Colorado almost 7 years ago. And it's not like, speaking of which, let me go into that a little bit before I go into the second most job, the one that I'm notorious for, the one that I still have dreams about to this very day, even after some damn near 20 years ago. Because it will be 20 years in a couple of years. And y'all probably already know what I'm talking about if you listen to my videos. But when I came out here, bro, when I had to start over, when I literally wiped the slate clean, basically hit the reset button on Memphis, I was basically like, I didn't know how to navigate this place. I was a newcomer. So my first and best bet was these temp jobs. So these temp jobs, this temp company was sending me all throughout the city, namely for the most part downtown. So they was sent. So the first place they sent me was this sheet metal company, like a steel mill, something like that, where they were just like, I to this day I couldn't tell you what the fuck they were making. Like apparently they was supplying, they were up here making weapons and whatnot, and God only knows what. And women were working there, and the women there were managers, so that didn't last long. Not to mention, like I said, and those were my first experiences with the women of Colorado. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So if you're wondering why I ain't rocking with the women of this town, that in and of itself, first impressions, let alone what I know about them now after 7 years. We not on good terms. I'm not on good terms, these folks. And hey, hence passport bros. I mean, a lot of us ain't when it comes to this American harlot. So then they sent me, and that was just like after 2 weeks doing that bullshit, the bullshit they did have me doing, throwing peanuts at me at that too. And then they sent me to this bakery. So that place was pretty much it was supposed to have been a 12-hour shift. So after my 12 hours, I got up and left. I most certainly did. Damn Skippy, I did. So that lasted 2 weeks, where they decided to let me go because I guess I wasn't moving fast enough. And I hate to go across the racial line, but it was Latino, as it is in Colorado. It's a gang of Latinos out here. But if you want to talk about some sun up to sundown work, that's pretty much what that was at Udi's Bakery. And it's funny because like I said, I work in the food service. I mean, that's what I do in food distribution. And I noticed at Udi's Bakery, I haven't seen too many products. So I'm wondering I'm starting to wonder if that's a bakery to begin with. I just wonder. So then they send me to this factory. And I've already forgotten the name of it, but it was basically, so they sent me to an Asian spot, bro. So this ain't going no good. They sent me to work with a bunch of Ling Lings, bro. where they were up here basically chemically engineering these garbage ass soy sauce, like all these different Asian sauces, like like sesame chicken and sweet and sour chicken sauce and all that, like. And I bought some of their products and it was pure crap. That lasted about a good 2 weeks. So I think that was probably the last temp job. I think, yeah, it was 3 that, with me navigating Colorado, with me trying to figure out how to work Colorado, basically fresh off the boat, or fresh off the bus anyway, from Tennessee, trying to figure out basically my place. And that's when I discovered the job, because they, for the 4th time now, because they said 3's a charm. Like, in my case, 4 is a charm. They sent me to this other warehouse that paid me the most, that was, in conjunction with Kroger, basically having a covenant with Kroger, i.e. King Soopers, because they're distribution center for King Soopers. And I was making they was starting me off with and already off the rip, I was making 16, 17 an hour. So best believe I was doing everything in my might to make that happen. But there was a problem though. There was a problem. I couldn't move fast enough. And I was in, it's not like I am now, because, I get it. I'm 30, I'll be 39 in less than a month. Well, basically in a month. I'm practically 40 years old now. Back then, I was 32, I was skinny, I was in the best shape of my life. I had just come from Memphis, where I was a long distance runner. In the best shape of my life, running wise. Could barely put up 205, but so I was pretty lean, like lean cut, probably about 170. I know I ain't 170 now. And they had these electronic pallet jacks, and then on top of that you were picking in basically sub-zero temps. And every day you had to knock 100%, and I just couldn't get there, and I didn't know what was going on. And it would not surprise me if they have their ways of tweaking and figuring out how to make the numbers work, because we were talking on this intercom, where the thing tells you, the electronic device tells you to pick this and pick how many, or it'll tell you to go to a certain spot and pick this and that and how many. And I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it, and I was giving it my all, bro. I was giving it my all. I lost so much weight too. I don't even think I was working out like that, because I really didn't have to. Because at that time, I didn't even care about being strong like that, as long as I was like, okay, I'm decent strong, but I'm not strong. I just cared about being thin. And I was paper thin. But I was doing everything in my might to hold on to that job. And just before, they figured, we're not even going to waste our time, trying to get you to get to the 3-month thing, because it's not happening. We know you're not going to be able to do it. So, but instead of letting you go, and this, like I said, I just happened to have hit the jackpot of jobs, right? I just happened to hit the jackpot of jobs, because they said, instead of just letting you go, we noticed that, and the one thing that we like about you is that you come to work. You don't make excuses. You don't pussyfoot around the fact that you have to report for duty. You actually show up. And yes, these people are like that out here in Colorado. No sense of priority. And where did I get that from? Oh, let's see. The fact that all throughout my 20s, I was out there hustling, out there busting my ass for peanuts, people, for peanuts. So that's where that work ethic came from. So they said, instead of letting you go, we're just going to send you to our other warehouse, to our bakery, and you're going to start working there. Now, I took a pay cut, but the way I saw it, I had a job. I still had a job. And was the labor intense? Of course it was intense. But it wasn't nearly as intense. I wasn't on production. I was like, okay, I can do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this, because, it started off real complex, real janky. I mean, janky, not from their point of view. It was, when I say janky, it was janky because of my coworker. Again, coworkers made it janky. Because as soon as them ninjas left, right? Particularly this Boricua, right? Living up to the age-old stereotype, talking too much, talking crazy, being a whole goofy, and trying to bring me into the fact that she goofy as hell, a whole goofy, bro. As soon as her garbage ass left, and then ironically enough, some of them left, like damn near all of them left. And guess who's still here after? Guess who's still at that company, at my current company after dang near 7 years? Me. I am. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just thinking back to the past. But after they got up out the paint, and by this time I knew the ins and outs of what I was supposed to know. The ins and outs of what I was supposed to know. And over the years, and year by year, not only did I get my $17 back, it probably took maybe, I don't even want to say 2 years. It probably took about a year and a half for me to get the money back, because like I said, they bumped my pay down to 14. It was like 14, 15, something like that. When I left the freezer and went to the bakery. So not only did I get my payback over the years, so I was making what I was making at the freezer for the time, at the time being when I was at the freezer. Now, granted, the freezer probably killing it, and that's cool. Let them have. I'm like, that's fine with me. Let them have it. They can have that. I worked at Williams-Sonoma. It wasn't that tough. And Williams-Sonoma was something serious. Working down there in Horn Lake, Mississippi, 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week on the peak seasons, tossing all them rugs. That was something serious, bro. That wasn't no joke. So, yeah, not only did I get my payback, you fast forward to today, I'm basically making, since, I said I started off, I kind of told y'all a lie. I told y'all a story. I started off at 17, but I was temping at the time. So when they sent me to the bakery and I got hired on, I started at 14. So really, I went from $14 to a $13 increase. That's why I say any victory that I get, it's well warranted. It's well warranted. And that's why I say I find it so interesting. People think just because I ain't got a mouth, I ain't out here just popping off at the mouth. Like I ain't up here going through what most people probably don't go through. Because I done seen some things. I done seen some bullshit. Which directs me now to the second job that I've worked the longest in dealing with black folks specifically, AutoZone. Now, how I even got onto AutoZone is I was stuck in the trenches, and these Negroes who supposedly are my family members saw it fit for me to get an apartment when I was barely making any money at FedEx. Because I did work at FedEx. I had a job, but I was working at FedEx. Now, what's wrong with that? What's the problem with that? The problem with that is, in addition to the fact that it's dangerous as hell, that wasn't the deterrent. The deterrent was that it was part-time. My checks were only, on a good day, $165, because I remember transferring. I went from being, a basic ass package handler to it was some job, I forgot, like a checker sorter or something. And I'm like, my shit didn't, like, it probably increased by $10-15 more, if even that. I wasn't pulling no bread at FedEx working part-time. See, it's crazy how I have to tell myself these stories so that I have to remind myself of these stories so that I know what not to go back to, what I had to run up out of. Because there's this lady I'm currently subscribed to. I think her name's her channel's like Diamond Royal Ministries or something. And she talks about her garbage ass city in I believe Peoria, Illinois. And I'm like, well, I don't know nothing about Peoria, Illinois, but I do know a thing or two about Chicago. Why? And why do I know a thing about Chicago, even though I've never been to Chicago? It's because a lot of Chicago niggas moved to Memphis. It's a whole gang of Chicago niggas in Memphis. Hell, Chicago is the reason why we probably got the gangster disciples and the vice lords. Because that's their culture. And they brought that bullshit to Memphis. Way back when. So, I listened to her stories, and, the fact that, she left her hometown way long time ago, long before I did, because I stayed for the long run until it was literally nothing left for me to play. I mean, no kind of cards to play with. And that was post-graduation after, college. Because the objective, as far as Memphis, was college, at the very least. And seeing that my life wasn't going nowhere any different than it was, it makes me wonder if I should have just moved earlier. But I'm willing to bet the Most High didn't want that. He at least wanted me to finish college first, then seek out greener pastures, instead of wasting my time with these Memphis folk. Because she talk about folks in the Midwest. I'm like, lady, you need to try. It's when I hear that, right? And these are black folks. These are supposed Israelites, right? The 2/3 nonetheless. 2/3. Some of the when I tell you some of the sorriest niggas you'll ever want to run into, I'm like, you ain't got to tell me twice about niggas in the Midwest because I've already seen them. Between garbage ass niggas from Chicago, from St. Louis, as well as the garbage ass niggas we have originally from the Mid-South. So when she says what she says about the Midwest, to me, it's like you pretty much preaching to the choir, because that's what I already heard about the Midwest, is that it's pretty much the South without the accent. I'm like, basically same shit, different hole. Same shit, different toilet. Just some bullshit. Now, on to AutoZone. So, given my situation, and they sent me there, I was literally banished from my grandmother's home, and my grandma didn't care. She wanted me to stay there with her. It wasn't my grandma pressuring me to, but no, it was my parents. Now, mind you, I'm making best case scenario on a good day, $165 a week. Because my checks were probably less than that, like $145. And I had been, at FedEx, now that I'm talking about FedEx, for a good minute. Because I'm so glad that I'm going over my work experience and the things that I personally experienced in that time, so that you can get a perspective of why men are giving up, why men are quitting. Let's just use my life experiences as far as why men are not working. And I hope they got some sort of side hustle or some main hustle, something where they can still collect legal tender without punching into some clock full of toxic ass folk, and in the end of the day, not even having anything to show for it but damn stress and PTSD. Because in the end, that's all you getting out of it. You ain't getting no 401k. You ain't getting no retirement benefits, unless you silly enough to stay there for 20 years. And like they got your ass killed, which again, let's talk about AutoZone. Let's talk about AutoZone in Memphis, Tennessee, because y'all know, or at least y'all should know, AutoZone is headquartered in Memphis, Tennessee. As well as FedEx. I'm sure y'all know that. So, I don't make enough money. And I was saying that to the umpteenth. I'm like, what part of I need more money do you not understand, Negro? Huh? What part of I don't make enough money to be going to some dingy ass apartment over by the U of M campus can you not seem to understand? So yeah, I was in a bind. I mean, sent me over there with the apartment, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I can't afford this apartment. I don't make enough. And God only knows what would have happened. Well, I could say, well, shit, we already know what would have happened. Because this is how, and this is how when you got garbage ass family members getting you involved, how they will sit up here and calculate, doing that Negro version of math, how you can be able to, so you can afford your rent. You should be able to afford your rent because, hey, if you making $150 every week, hey, that's $600, right? And your rent is $410, right? So your rent is $410, right? And it ain't no utilities, right? This wouldn't have flown. This wouldn't have flown in my second apartment. I would have got. I would have got all kinds of. I would have got evicted. I would have gotten evicted, and my shit would have gone to a collection agency. But the number one thing that they couldn't understand, for whatever reason, were expenses with the car, which in Memphis, you need a car. It's a requirement. So there's expenses to that. And your garbage ass Ford Taurus breaking down, your found on the road dead breaking down. Constantly needing new brakes, needing the wheel, just having to do the most just to keep that worthless piece of garbage up. And then there's another thing, food. So out of the $600 that you make, you have less than $200 for food within a month. Somebody make that make sense. Even in 2006's economy. So I was desperate. So desperate that on GetWell, I started job hunting. So I just happened to stumble across an AutoZone. Well, in fact, I was stumbling across, because on GetWell, there were three auto shops. You had O'Reilly's, you had Advance, and you had AutoZone. AutoZone called first. And why did AutoZone call first? Is it because I was finally dealing with some good Memphis folk? Nah. It's because my manager, because I went to Advance. I believe, matter of fact, I went to Advance first, Advance Auto Parts. And I told these folks that I speak Spanish, and they were like, oh, good, yeah, man, we need somebody who speaks Spanish. Bro, that was the best news I heard in my life. Because I'm like, bro, I need a job, and I need it now. I speak Spanish. What's going on? When can a nigga get in? So my manager at AutoZone just happened to be a Detroit dude, a Detroit ninja. Because I'm telling you, bro, you leave it up to these Memphis ninjas. I may or may not have gotten a job. They probably would have forgotten. I mean, I'm telling y'all who these Memphis folks are, bro. And see, like I said, it's just, it reminds me, it encourages me of because sometimes I get this whole idea of even entertaining the thought of going back to Memphis once I'm done doing what I got to do here. I'm like, you shouldn't even be entertaining that thought. Like anywhere but Memphis or the South as a whole, or the Midwest, especially Illinois, because not only from that lady from Royal Diamond Ministry or Diamond Royal Ministries, that I know about Chicago, or really Illinois, the whole state of Illinois, from my nigga Tito. Before they flagged this channel, because that nigga, he a product of Illinois, and I'm like, cool as he cool, but I'm like, just a man, he was a ruffian. I'm like, that ain't no kind of nigga I would have wanted to run into. I swear. So I already know. So I saw. So it basically, I had to solve a problem by getting a second job, because I was being forced into a situation that I wasn't even prepared, hardly even prepared for. Ill prepared for. And that's, again, what I have to remind myself of, how I found myself in these situations, and it taught me survival, but it was coming from people who basically put me in there as if, like, you're supposed to be doing this, as if you have bro, as if I'm making the kind of money that I'm making right now. Calling themselves trying to teach me about responsibility. Calling themselves trying to teach me about saving money. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the job, like the kind of toxicity and the toxicity of people that comes with the job. Is it any wonder why men are giving up? It's not a wonder to me. So, all right. So let's talk about AutoZone now. So now I'm working 2 jobs, right? I work at FedEx. I work at AutoZone. So after 4 years, from 2006 to 2010, I was on AutoZone's payroll. And I'm not going to labor long. So we're not dealing with rentals. We're not dealing with rentals. We're dealing with auto parts. We're dealing with auto parts. No, I'm not a video salesman anymore. And in that experience, a whole bunch of fuss and cussing. And of course, 2 years later, once I finally, got the auto parts jargon down, we get robbed. The nigga walk up in there with a whole hand cannon and rob me and my manager. And then my manager, well, one of my managers, not the manager who hired me, it was more like it was a Memphis Negro, like that Memphis Shine Bone. And I mean, like I said, bro, the time that I was in there, like it goes without saying, I didn't get along with too many Memphis folk. Now, niggas from LA, niggas from Detroit, now Chicago, nope, hell no. That was no different, no better. No different or no better. Oh my God, no. Jesus, no. But it was just something about this Memphis Negro that but that's all right though, because Memphis niggas don't get along too well with themselves. That's why I stopped when I finally came out to Colorado. And this whole thing about, this whole obsession with homeless people, this whole OCD these motherfuckers have about the homeless. And if you ain't basically, my nigga, if you ain't dressed in your Sunday's finest, they gonna think you homeless. And anything short of that, they gonna think you homeless. But when I see how Denver people do each other, I'm like, why are you wasting your time? You basically in a goofier version of Memphis with an even stronger economy. I've talked about that. But we ain't talking about Colorado right now. Fuck that. I mean, I gotta live here. I could talk about these goofy ass niggas all day. Let's talk about my hometown for a minute. Go back down memory lane. So we get robbed, and then so that was a historical hallmark. That was a hallmark point, right? And another point was the year that I basically quit AutoZone. It wasn't the Negroes. It wasn't the places they sent me when they were sending me all throughout South Memphis. Because, they couldn't find nobody to work, ironically enough. At least anybody who wouldn't rob their ass. I mean, steal from, internal theft. These old garbage ass niggas. I can't tell you how many folks got caught. Managers, bro. Managers stealing. Now, I've been there for 4 years. Didn't want to give me a management position. But you had the gray shirts up in there stealing from AutoZone who were gray shirts. In fact, it was my manager, the one from Detroit, who actually tried to put me up on, because I spoke Spanish, tried to put me up so that I could work at corporate, so that I wouldn't have to work in the stores. That's why men are quitting their jobs, because they're dealing with toxic ass people who are going to find a way to take advantage of them every chance they get. Y'all follow me? Because I'm still salty as fuck, low key, because there was no excuse. There was no excuse. As well as I speak Spanish. Because I'll tell you, of all the languages, if there's one language, if there were only one language I could consider myself genuinely fluent in, it would be Spanish. And it got me nowhere. And now I'm holding a piece of paper. I got a whole bachelor's degree in the motherfucker, and it ain't got me nowhere. That in and of itself is the reason why men are quitting their jobs. Men are not going to work because our skills, our talents, our abilities are underappreciated and undervalued, and worse than all of that, exploited. I was exhibiting talent in these languages. I was growing in them. Namely Spanish. If Thai didn't do it, if Cambodian didn't do it, if German didn't do it, if Vietnamese didn't do it, if Mandarin Chinese didn't do it, if my other majors of Japanese didn't do it, Spanish should have done it. It didn't do diddly squat. And you wonder why men are walking away from the workforce. You can't figure it out. Just like you can't figure out why men are walking away from the modern woman. You can't figure it out. But I thought you was this genius and we were the dumbasses, right? Because that's how you treated us. That's how these people treated us. But even back to AutoZone. What really got me up out of AutoZone, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that being held at gunpoint that got me up out of there. Because most people, because like I said, that manager, he was an assistant manager. That nigga quit. I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot for anybody. Even us Memphis niggas. Getting held at gunpoint, bro, getting robbed by a nigga with a whole hand cannon, by a whole 357 Magnum. That's a lot. That's a lot to be, and then working in the same store, not even transferring. But bro, it was this Negro. It was this boneheaded Negro. So my manager from Detroit, he was moving to Mississippi. So he was going to transfer down there to a store down in Mississippi. So they brought in some other bonehead ass Negro. Typical Memphis shine. And bro, it goes without saying, we clashed. We clashed. That's what I'm saying. For a lot of people can't seem to figure out how is it that I can have the personality that I have, which is basically low-key, out of the way. This is my personality. Low-key, won't bother you. You want out of the way. Introvert. And it is amazing. It amazes me the type of mofos that I will we clash, bro. And all it's done over the years is just worn down my patience. So it really is a good thing that at this point I'm what's considered the warrior in the garden, because anybody coming my way, bro, I'm likely to shoot you in your chest. Because I'm not for the bullshit. And the fact that it still comes my way to this, I'm like, okay, you just keep playing with your life. You keep playing with your life. You must got a death wish. Because I guess I'm worth it. And that's a guy, and again, that's coming from a dude who don't get no bitches, who ain't got no kind of quote unquote social skills, who's a whole retard. I must be worth it. That bullet in your chest. I must be worth it. You gonna get your whole wig pushed back, fucking with
a quote unquote nigga who don't talk to nobody. Calling yourself trying to tell, because I'm like, nigga, I'm all the way with the shits. All the way with the shits. So yeah, we didn't get along. And I don't even think, I was sick of him and his bullshit. But now that I think about it, it was a combination of him and some nigga getting on. And like I said, this is 4 years. This is 4 years of me dealing with niggas. That's why sometimes when I see the police doing to y'all what they do to y'all, I don't even give a fuck, because I know y'all. I know how fucked up y'all are. My sympathy only goes so far at this point. I mean, that's just where we are at this point. But I remember one time, we have to answer the phone and whatnot when the phone's ringing off the hook, and there was some nigga up there just talking crazy, like some random ass, retarded ass, low IQ, sub-Saharan IQ having ass nigga up here. Something about a gun, like, oh yeah, I heard him. And I'm like, and at that point, I started. At that point, I didn't care, because like I said, this is 4 years in the making we're talking about. 4 years of dealing with niggas, for one. Let alone the day we got robbed and all that shit. I just said enough is enough. That's when I quit. That's when I quit. And it was really because I remember I talked to my father about it, and after all that, he just said, "Why don't you just quit?" And I was like, you know what? And see, at this point, I had already quit AutoZone. I quit AutoZone like shit 3 years prior. I quit AutoZone in 2007 because I couldn't put up with that shit. I couldn't put up with that dumb nigga shit. And I mean, it's just like the community. Like, it don't matter where you put them. You can put them in the workforce. You can put them in school. And yes, college too. Niggas are gonna be niggas. Any kind of low-seated, low IQ, psychopath, sociopath, motherfucker, I don't care. You put them in a suit and a tie, you put them in all this and that, in the third, they gonna be who they are, and they gonna do what they gonna do. No matter what rank, whether they're your manager, whether it's a customer, whether it's a coworker on the same rank as you. It's the bullshit that ran us up out of there, bro. It's the bullshit that ran me up out of Memphis. Which is why I'm in Colorado, gang in Colorado shit. Now, with that said, you would think. Now here's the thing about where I currently work, right? Because I've run into the Coloradans have shown they natural ass, right? And they have made it abundantly clear that they are no different, no better, if not even worse than the goddamn Memphians themselves. But the thing about my job is, and the people who work there, most of them, dang near most of them, are from out of town. They're not from Colorado, just like me. And it's so crazy how the work environment, how peaceful, how agreeable the work environment is, and in addition to that, how I'm increasing in that place. How many of us can say that we're increasing in our work environment? Now, we've had some Colorado boneheads. We had some local boneheads up in there. We got some in there now. But they ain't got no power. And the ones who did have some power, what do you think they did? They fucked it up. No different, no better than the Memphians would. No, it's amazing to me just how I can leave a city as toxic as Memphis, as toxic, as sorry, as degenerate, as low down, as trifling as them niggas were, white and black. So when I say, like I said, when I say nigga, I'm not just talking about black folks. Because, I got plenty of stories about them folks, if you know what I'm talking about. Plenty. Asians, all the like. Latino, all the like. All the same. One and the same. Garbage as hell. So I really had to think about that, man, because, here I am getting ready to, getting prepared to get a car. So with me getting a car, I'll have access to the city, right? And if I have access to the city where I can drive, I just might be able to find my place of employment, or, where, I'm making, making a little bit more than what I'm finna be making. But you know what, though, bro? At this point, I figure I can do, besides this job, because like I said, it's not like it hasn't dawned on me. Why couldn't I have just gotten a job like this way back when? Back when I was 20, back when I was 19, back when I was of the legal working age. All that foolishness. When, OSHA, say, I have to do some work with OSHA, or for whatever reason or somebody's going over a detail of my work history, and they, like I said, they go through the whole list from 2000, starting from 2002, when, again, On the Border, Atlanta Bread Company, Hollywood Video, Papa John's, FedEx, AutoZone. Then after AutoZone, the temp agencies, Deco and CMOS, and all the places they were sending me, and the bullshit I had to endure there as a temp, and the crazy, speaking of which, the craziest part about my Memphis work history is that I was making way more money as a temp, as a temporary worker, than I was when I had all these titles, working, like I said, working FedEx, working AutoZone. Yeah, even more so than AutoZone. Because I be thinking sometimes, well, maybe AutoZone, but the thing about it is, I was busting my tail because I had to work 2 jobs working at FedEx and AutoZone. But, when I was temping for a Deco, and even CMOS to a more or less extent, I was making so much money that I was making it, like, and the thing about it is, I was getting those checks weekly. So at the very least, I was getting 300, anywhere from 300 to, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, probably 350. It was somewhere anywhere from 300 to 400, and it was weekly. It wasn't bi-weekly, it was weekly. I was getting more money at the temp agencies, except for Randstad. Now, there was some where they were just sending me to these garbage ass places throughout town, like Randstad's goofy ass. And mind you, this is post graduation. I done got me a whole college degree in 3 languages: Spanish, German, Japanese. I hold a bachelor's degree in these 3, and my situation isn't improving. In the least. And you motherfuckers have the nerve to wonder why men are getting up and getting the fuck out. Because I bet these men who are getting up and getting the fuck out, their experience on the workforce is probably less horrific than mine. They just see, because some of these men have had the opportunity to work 12, even 20 years, put in some considerable time at the place of employment. They hired them, they saw they had potential, and they kept them on, and they went and did their job, and that continued for, a course of years. But the problem is they started looking into their pockets and started to realize that, all this work and all this time and all this effort and energy that I've been putting into this company, and at the end of the day, the dividends, the returns, the results, the math, if you will, ain't mathing, because you have nothing to show for it. All that bullshit that I did for those companies. Now, I'm not talking about the one I'm currently working, because I got something to show for it. I got something to show for where I'm currently working now. And that's the one and only job that I can genuinely say that. All these other jobs, even the one that bailed me out of a bind, dealing with Negroes like AutoZone. Because I had to see I had to see the whole company of AutoZone for the charlatans that they are. A whole joke, bro. A whole joke. A whole clown show. That could have cost me my life. I'm like, damn, for some bullshit like that, I could have just joined MPD, don't you think? I could have just been a police officer for the Memphis Police Department, don't you think? If I'm gonna be out here dealing with folks pulling out gats on a nigga, because I had the credentials. All you need is you need 60 hours college credit, which I had, and there were people begging me not to join the police, begging me don't become a police officer, begging me. I'm so glad I didn't. Best decision in my life, to get up and walk the fuck away from that garbage ass society and that garbage ass city. And now here I am in another garbage ass city that just happens to have money. You think I want to leave my job now? So technically, even though I have a job, technically, I almost feel like I'm walking away from the idea of getting another job. Walking away from, and at this point, why shouldn't I? Unless it's a job that I know for a fact is going to have a working environment that is beneficial, in which, again, I can increase. And until I get these STEM degrees, player, I don't think there's going to be anything such a thing. I don't think it's. So why even take a chance? Especially, like I said, considering, I've met this Denverite, bro. I've worked with the Denverites. I've been out in public with the Denverites. Been at the gym with the Denverites. I've seen these people for who they are after almost 7 years of being here. What I haven't done, which, I ain't tripping on, is, been in the Denverite's home in the bedroom, busting cheeks. That we haven't done. And like I said, I'm good on, knowing these garbage ass females. I'm good on that shit, bro. Because when I see these goddamn Denverites, I'm basically looking at an even sillier version, an even sillier version of Memphis, whose economy is, the only reason why their economy is so strong is because of the Texans and the Californians. You think these Coloradans could have made this happen, even with all the gold they got up there in the mountains? Fuck no. Because apparently Colorado, before the weed craze and before the Texans and Californians came in and made all this possible, minimum wage in Colorado was no different or higher than it was in Tennessee. Minimum wage in Colorado, probably in 2010, most likely, was probably $8.50. And seeing what I've seen out here, seeing the quality of houses, the quality of the people or the lack thereof, I'm like, yeah, it ain't no way y'all did this. Nah. Y'all did not bring this money up in here. Nah. Texas did that. California did that. And you know, it's funny because somebody was actually telling me about when I was stuck in the hills of Memphis. Somebody was actually telling me about Dallas, how Dallas has so many more opportunities than garbage ass Memphis. And it's so funny because years after that, there was actually reports of MPD officers, Memphis police officers, quitting, walking away from Memphis police and joining Dallas police. Dallas came to Memphis, recruiting Memphis police officers to come to Dallas and police in Dallas. And well over half, shit, it's funny as a motherfucker too, because well over half the police force of Memphis police joined Dallas PD. Because I'm like, hell, you already work in a war zone. So I get to work in a place that might be bad, but now I heard Dallas PD with the shit now that all the Cali niggas to move down there. But I can't even say that, bro. Dallas might be lit, but it ain't lit like Memphis. I mean, I'm sorry, it just ain't, bro. So to a Memphis nigga going to Dallas, that ain't nothing. That's water under the bridge. Just like me in Colorado. Even with all the shit that I've seen. But you know what they say about us Memphis niggas. You know the old saying. If you can survive Memphis, you can survive anywhere. Now, I don't know if a Memphis nigga can survive a goofy ass place like New York. But as far as the rest of the country, or even LA, I mean, with the exorbitant prices, it's the exorbitant prices, like, you know, of New York and Cali. It can't just anybody just go up in there and survive that place. But in between all that, yeah, we Memphis niggas, we can do that. We can do that all day. Keep our cost of living low and keep our bread up. That's what I'm saying, bro. All I've been doing since I've been in Colorado has been kicking ass and taking names. And I'm like this, and I'm looking at these goofies who up here thinking that I'm homeless, because that's just the stereotype that they have for people who, like I said, ain't dressed like Bob Barker every goddamn day. Knowing they got construction, knowing they got people, you know, hard hat workers out here. And they ain't making, and you know, and I already know they ain't making no more than I am. I'm looking at these goofies like, nigga, this is your city. This is your state. And the money is here. How are you not taking advantage of this? You're from here. I had to move here. And I had to go through hell on high water to get here. Because I didn't always know about Colorado. Because like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that some goofy, or a dude who turned out to be a goofy anyway, if it wasn't for the fact that dude told me about this place, I would have never come here. I wouldn't have known. It would have either been Dallas, or it would have been probably somewhere in Ohio. Hell, it probably would have been NYC. I would have just fucked around and found. I would have been like, bro, I'm going to the Big Apple. I don't give a fuck. And I'm starting all of the way over again. I'm starting all over again, bro. Because this bullshit here we got in Memphis, I'm like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It ain't worked so far, so why should it work now? And now I got some folks in my family, particularly members of my nuclear family, or was nuclear family because they got divorced. They feeling some type of way now that I'm gone. But you wasn't feeling some type of way when I was there. You wasn't feeling some type of way when I was going through the hell Memphis put me through. You wasn't feeling some type of way then. Why are you feeling some type of way now? You know, they say silence is deafening. I dare say one of the loudest sounds you can hear is silence. Because they hearing that shit. They hearing it. And some of them up there talking about when I'm going to go back. I mean, and I don't know if that was them planting a seed up in my head. I don't know if that was some kind of demonic seed that they was planting up in my head to look at Memphis like some sort of like an escape route. I'm like, don't even entertain that foolishness. Don't entertain that foolishness. After all the hell, and I'm like, nigga, have you forgotten the hell them niggas put you through? Have you forgotten? Not necessarily my family, but even with my family, they were complicit with it. Because people, let me explain something to y'all. I'm not from a city, I'm not from a family, rather, of garbage ass niggas. I got, oh shit. That scared the holy. There was this bird I saw, yeah, and it's nighttime too. That scared the shit, that nigga scared the shit out of me. It was a big ass bird too. People, I practically have doctors in my family, or people who might as well be doctors. Like I got one uncle who, as far as I know, is practically a radiologist. So I don't come from a family or a bloodline of garbage ass niggas. I mean, even because, my mom used to talk about my daddy's side of the family because they all a bunch of drunks and fornicators and whatnot. I'm like, so? A lot of folks on my dad's side of the family are legit. And the only thing you got against them is that they like to drink and cuss. Dang near everybody on my dad's side of the family are either armymen, like my father, or airmen. So I don't come from, and that's probably why there's so much greatness and potential in me. Because I got it on both sides of the family. I got the military on one side, and I got the scientific mind on the other. Now, with that said, there are some bozos, of course. There's always at least one of them. In mine, there's several. But I'm thinking all that bullshit that I had to go through, calling myself looking for a job. Why wasn't I introduced to real estate at 18? Hell, at 16. Why wasn't I introduced to ideas of passive income? I was going to have to make some money. Why was I being sent and allowed to understand that this job where I had to experience all of that bullshit was my only source of income? And that in order to get a better job, I'm going to have to go to college. And there's no other way around it. It's either college and we found that out to be a lie. That it was proven to be a lie. And you wondering why men are walking away from the job. Men are walking away from marriage. Men are walking away from society. That's the mystery to you. That's the $4 million question. Why men, such as like myself, have given the hell up and have wiped the slate clean and have decided to do what we got to do to get to the next step, bereft of you. Bereft of Memphis. I dare say bereft of even Colorado, because yeah, I live here. But the thing about it is, man, I may live here, but you know how like the book says we're in the world, but we're not of the world? Like, It also reminds me of a quote of this video game I used to play, like a Call of Duty game, where they were talking about being among the dead, like, or you playing as this Russian, and they were talking about, well, we thought you were among the dead, and one of them replied, he was with them, not among them. I might be with these Coloradans, but I'm not among these Coloradans. And see, what these dumbasses have done, as well as the city of Memphis, what they've really done in their greed and their selfishness and their lust for power, whatever the narcissism, all that toxic shit, all that good toxic shit that we know all too well. What they have done is basically, and it's so crazy too, how the chess pieces are being moved and what's being removed from the table and what's advancing and how it's advancing. We've literally, they've basically spaced us out of the way so that they can control the center line, but they getting taken up out the chessboard. If not getting flat out checkmated. All the while, we off over to the side, and we still on the game. We still on the board. The enemy, our enemies, whichever side of the board they're on, because a lot of them enemies are on the same board that you on, and both of them have systemically moved us, positioned us to be on the side, to be out of the way, because we tried to sign up for these let's talk about all the jobs we did sign up for, because all the jobs that I talk about and bitch about, which might be 10, that shadows under the countless jobs that I did apply for. Countless, trying to find that better opportunity, this and that, trying to find that piece of the pie. It masked, and the countless times that I've applied for this job, that job, and didn't even get so much as a call back. So I put 2 and 2 together and said, look, I'm making this money at this job. I get my 40. I'm making it happen. I'm seeing results. I'm getting computers. I'm getting everything I need to make this, and not to mention the money that I need to save up for tuition. I got all of that now, and I'm finna get a car, get a job, as in another job, a quote unquote better job. For what? Just to run into the same goofies that I ran into before I got hired onto my current company? Just to run into them goofies? No. Why not, instead of going after another job and risk running, leaving the job that's getting ready to pay you some buku money, right? So much so that I can actually afford 16 hours in per semester in college, for at least one semester. I can afford, so I can come in and knock these classes out and do what I got to do with that. Hit them back to back to back, thus speeding up the process, thus then being in a position to vouch for a better paying job, a more qualifiable job, assuming that there's even one to be had in that field. And by that field, I'm talking about bioengineering, biochemistry, computer science. Pretty viable job. Pretty viable companies that, if you do get in, you should be making bank. You should be making considerable bank. And they ain't telling them to go get, you know how many times I've been told to get a second or a third job? How many engineers got second 2 or 3 jobs? How many of them got 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs? You ain't telling them to do that. You're telling me to do that. But instead of doing all of that, why not? And here's what men probably have figured out, because I figured this out. There's been a talent that I have been nurturing and cultivating for years. Years, the gift of tongues. And seeing how I have ventured out to different companies, one after another, and have basically what the Bible says, casting my pearls before swine. Basically. It just dawned on me one day. You have the availability of the internet. You have the internet, sir. And sure, we had the internet back in 2007. Of course we did. We had YouTube back in 2007. Of course we did. But you have the internet now. And the internet's a lot more advanced since then. Why don't you just build a portfolio doing what you, because, I was always told, as far as you making your money, one of the questions that I was asked is, what do you like to do? You got to find what you like to do. I mean, that should be the premise of getting any kind of, self-employment and business type of thing started. Doing what you like to do and seeing if it generates income. And one of the biggest lies that was told to me is that foreign languages don't generate income. But you got all these foreigners all across the globe can't speak English. See, this is what happens when you work with Babylonians, when you deal with Babylonians. Because you dealing with, and I see it, bro. You dealing with a whole mindset, a whole fucked up mindset, and it's a mental illness. America is a mental illness of narcissism, of entitlement, and just flat out just craziness and ignorance. And men are fed up. Men are fed up propping up that foolishness. Because we see that what we're doing is no different than what the Israelites were doing when they were up there building the pyramids, building the sphinxes, building up Pharaoh's empire. Until one day God just said, enough is enough. Enough of this foolishness. It's enough. 400 years in Egyptian captivity, it's enough. We've recognized that we're building up Ramesses' kingdom. We recognize that we're doing all that and we have nothing to show for it. We recognize that we're building up Babylon's kingdom and we're still being treated like criminals. No different than the criminals who actually get out here, who aren't working, mind you, and get out here and do all kinds of fuck shit. Who are going around terrorizing life, human life. We recognize that the police force that run Babylon are not in the interest of us 9-to-5ers and see us one and the same as well as the supposed criminals that they're supposed to be locking up. Because they're an enterprise with an agenda, of the who have an agenda, like, who are connected to the agenda of the 12 families. They don't have our interest at heart. Locking us up will be no different. It would be one and the same of locking up Pookie and Ray Ray, who out there being a whole criminal, being a whole terrorist in his own community. So that's why we're walking away from the workforce, because it doesn't serve our interest. And I'm so glad that men as a whole, as a collective, have finally woken up to a reality that I've been dealing with for a very, very, very long time. And part of my awakening is too, because like I said, I think I told y'all, mentally, truth be told, bro, I gave up on the female. I low-key gave up on the female even when I was dealing with the female. I'd run into some women in my life sometimes, and I'd give them the chance and give them the time of the day and watch it turn into a complete fucking nightmare. And these being the women, not strumpets, so you ain't got no excuse. These weren't strumpets. These weren't women I was up here laying up with, whoring around with. And I had that thrown my way, and I walked away from that. Because I knew like no good was going to come of that. So women I get, but it took me a long time. It took me a long time to recognize, look, when it comes to these jobs, you just might find something out there. If you're lucky, if I'm lucky, there just might be a job out there that's paying $70K, $80K. Which I'm here to tell you, in Denver dollars is chump change. Because cost of living here is expensive as fuck. But say you did get that job, you would have to switch up your whole frame. Your whole play game, your whole playbook would have to be switched up. You'd probably have to be a suck butt, because it'd probably be some sort of management job. So you'd have to kiss up to your superiors. Like and you would have to deal with the Coloradans. Why sabotage? I mean, why sabotage the chance to, at least now? Because like I said, say I got to deal with that after I graduate with some of my degrees in STEM, even bachelor's degrees. At least then, okay, you a garbage ass company, but I still have a degree in computer science. So if you a garbage ass company, I will go someplace else. I have that option. Foreign languages ain't doing that for me. But what foreign languages, at least what the degree in foreign languages has done, the degrees in foreign languages have done, they've basically put me in a position where I'm more than qualified to basically start my own online business. Like I said, whether I have to be an online translator, which is a thing, online translation, starting up my own stuff, or working long enough to create my own online translation business, writing my own books, all of the above, or all the above, and or all the above. Putting myself in a position based on my talents and my desires to do what clearly I was always meant to do. And the fact that there'll be no interference, no one to whom I owe allegiance, no one to whom I owe debt, as far as, or gratitude for putting me in that position. No one. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy, being a whole self-made, self-actualized ninja? No partners, no co-work. I mean, no, no, basically nothing. No co-partners, none of that. None of that. Because the would-be co-partner that I had, well, I can't even say I did have, that I had an option at one point was Laoshu, Moses McCormick. And y'all killed him. They killed him. They killed him. And all he had was the foreign languages, unlike me. My life is a little more complex than that, though. Because these languages ain't going to save you, bro. Not no time soon, anyway. And I can't wait. I can't be sitting up there hoping that, oh, now it's going to get my chance. But I'm going to see to it that I do something with the foreign languages. And where it goes from there, I'm like, okay, well, that's exactly why I went back to school for comp science, bioengineering, aerospace engineering, electrical engineer. Just did them all, did the most. Got more degrees, like Coach Greg Adams said, got more degrees than a thermometer. By the time I get up out of there, by the time I get through, by the time I'm done studying, by the time I'm done collecting degrees from these institutes of higher learning. But you know, men giving up on women is one thing. That's bad enough. But men giving up on the jobs, men walking away from the police force because it's corrupt and practically satanic. You can't look. I mean, look at the police force, bro. And if it is an extent, because you know they say that that the police are trained by the IDF, you know, the Israeli Defense Forces, and I'm like, what big surprise, right? Because them motherfuckers are satanic. Big surprise that is. You got these psycho cops running around terrorizing the streets of America, even more so than the gangs themselves, because they're a gang. And some people who have a moral compass, because like I said, I'm a would-be officer. I'm a would-be police officer. I couldn't have done it. I'm so glad I didn't do it. And that's probably why so many people were talking me out of joining the force. And it would have been a waste of time to join that garbage ass Memphis Police Department just to walk away from it. Cause I'm like, I can't do this shit. I done seen too much. I done heard it too much. I've done too much. Joining up with basically the Scorpion unit. I mean, motherfuckers like that being your coworkers. Mofos like that as your coworkers, bruh. That's what you signing up for. Or any of these other companies. But I was just thinking, it's bad enough that men are giving up on women because they ain't got no veil of protection, and they don't need one. They crazy as hell. The modern woman is a straight up demon. Shouldn't be approached, shouldn't be touched at all costs, any more than the demon itself. And you know, I was just thinking too. I hate to get off a tangent. I was just thinking, you know, what people do to contact the supernatural, the paranormal, if you will, the demonic, if you will. You know how people deal with seances, they deal with all these occultic things, like seances, crystal balls, like, what's that shit they call, I don't remember, but like Ouija boards, like things of the occult, you know, books on witchcraft. Oh yeah, root work, voodoo, all basically things that you do to contact the demonic, or will contact the demonic if you do it and do it long enough. I'm like, and you know, my thing is this, right? I'm like seeing all the goofiness that I've seen when it comes to contacting the demonic. Who needs any of that shit? Who needs any of that? I'm like, nigga, we damn just being around people, we contact the demonic. We run into the demonic. Running into these garbage ass folks. We run into the demonic on our jobs, at a school, at work, on the street. Contact the demonic. And why would you want to? When, like I said, when you have the availability of contacting or being in direct contact with the demonic, with this crazy ass narcissist motherfucker staring you in your face, whether he's your, like I said, whether he's your boss, he's your coworker, whether he's some garbage ass nigga on the street, whether it's a cop, some psycho out here, that's contact with the paranormal and the demonic. Because lately I've been thinking, because, I've been told, for quite some time about, the kingdom of darkness and the demonic. And now that I'm finally starting to realize who and what people are, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the demons and the fallen angels, basically the kingdom of darkness, and the average human being. And I'm sitting up here saying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm asking now? You know what kind of question I'm putting into the universe now? What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference between this garbage ass nigga, this garbage ass cop, this garbage ass Memphian, this garbage ass Denverite, this garbage ass American, and Leviathan? What's the difference between, besides the fact Leviathan's a sea serpent? What's the difference? Or some narcissistic, sociopathic motherfucker that you gotta clock into and you under his wing. You gotta work for that motherfucker and deal with his bullshit. And you coming home from work stressing. And what's the difference between him and the bullies that we had to run into when we was in school? Which I say is even worse, because we gotta make a living. We have to make our bread off this toxic environment that we call work. And like I said, I just happen to be in an environment that none of that pertains, because again, it's the work environment, it's the work culture. And I don't know the first thing about who these people are or whose God they serve. I don't know nothing about none of that. For all I know, these people could be straight up devil worshipers. But is it likely? It's not likely. It's not likely. And I'll be one to tell you that even if they was quote unquote Christian, that wouldn't make it any more better. It wouldn't make it any more better. Because back in Memphis, I actually had some garbage ass worker, swore he loved the Lord, swore he was a Christian. I actually saw that it was probably like the last time I actually went to a Christian church, the church that I grew up going to, that I saw this ninja. As if, and that threw a nigga off for a very long time. That you thinking that this dude a Christian, he a family man, he this, he that. But you see it though. You see it. You see him. You see the gaslighting. You see the false accusations. How you gonna sit up here and then you start asking questions? Like, how these folks gonna sit up here and say that they are the people of God when they doing what they doing? How can you sit up here and do all that? Like doing the most. Bruh, doing the most, bruh. All the conniving, snake, low-key, underhanded stuff they be doing. How you gonna say, and you up here calling yourself a child of God? And you up here gonna call this country Christian? Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Because I was told Christian means Christ-like. Can we honestly say that America is Christ-like? Hell no. No, this country is Satan-like. Because it's run by people whose God is the devil. The devil is their God. And I'm here to tell you, whether they dealing with the nigga with the red skin and the horns, or they dealing with the that nigga with blonde hair, blue eyes, and looking like he's just full of love, and on the front of most and a lot of holy Bibles, that nigga masquerading as our Lord and Savior, masquerading as our Messiah. Devil's all the same, one and the same. Because so ignorant of us, right? So of all of us, that image is actually Cesare Borgia. And even if Cesare Borgia wasn't the type of nigga he was, that still would have been blasphemy and idolatry on so many different levels. To put him on the front of a Bible, because it's known, it's known that that painter Michelangelo used his cousins and nephews and whatnot to make depictions of David and Saul and Abraham, figures of the Bible, and of course whitewashed those figures. So why wouldn't they have done that of our Lord and Savior? Of course they would have done something like that. So I hope y'all can hear the frustration, and not only at this point, it ain't no frustration now, because we out the forest, or almost out the forest. We almost out the forest. I ain't gonna sit up here and say I'm entirely out the forest. I still gotta clock in and do my 40. Yeah, do my 40. I still gotta work for the man, like somebody told me a long time ago, that you can either work for the man or you can be the man. And I'm here to say it's time for us to be the man. The answer to our problem, as far as what we have to do for a job, or do for employment anyway, is not get a job. Now, if you young, impressionable, bro, you ain't got no skills, no education, no nothing. So unless you got some real talent, you gonna have to. But at the very least, make sure it's worth your while. Because if it's not, they're gonna nickel and dime you. I promise you, that company is going to, unless it's an honest, genuinely honest company that ain't on the bullshit and actually values your ass enough to pay you more than just pennies on the dollar, they gonna nickel and dime your ass. And in the end, you ain't gonna have nothing to show for it. But frustration, potential injuries, death. I could have been killed at FedEx. I could have been killed at AutoZone. Calling yourself working with the general public, calling yourself trying to get to know people, being more sociable. That's what being more sociable got me. All I got as an introvert, because I grew up. Oh shit. My battery's low. Let me wrap this up, y'all. My battery about to go dead. Like, not just. Oh, my battery's down 10%. On my phone. So yeah, I'm finna wrap it up. But all the so-called advice that my elders gave me, as far as this, about people, about work, about girls, about relationships, all this foolish. It was pure foolishness, pure gaslighting, pure manipulation, and it was all found lacking. It's just like that scripture says, they're physicians of they're forgers of lies and physicians of no value. Your advice was of no value. Oh, and it bore, but nonetheless, it bore fruit. Oh, yes, it did. But the fruit that it bore were thorns, thistles, bitterness, and fed up individuals such as myself who just said, you know what, it's time to get up and it's time to walk away. So the fact that men are giving up on the jobs, and let me say this, I ain't forgot. The fact that, like I said, it's bad enough that men are giving up on women, but when men give up on the jobs, you got to ask yourself something. If men are giving up on the jobs with this economy too, you know it's men who bring in the trucks, and the trucks bring in the food. And this is right down my alley because this is what I do. I mean, not that I'm a truck driver. I probably could be, like a commercial truck driver, not one that just goes from state to state, God no. But I even thought about, I seriously considered being a commercial truck driver. But that's probably a bad idea knowing how these goofies drive. I don't think I should be doing that. Being some 18-wheeler driver, I'm like, yeah, and at this point, if I was going to do something like that, that seed should have been planted when I was 18. That's how I feel about it. Because I hear they make a decent stack of cash. That's what I was saying. That's why I point to my folks who allowed me to get out there and get all bit up by these goddamn wolves. Why weren't we talking about that? Why weren't we talking about truck driving, real estate, things that at the very least, even if I do have to go to FedEx, even if I do have to work at AutoZone, hell, even if I do have to go to college, I can do. We weren't talking about that. And that's not even the half of why, that doesn't even touch the surface of why I had to create, well, really the most I had to create distance between me and most of my family. That doesn't even touch the surface. It doesn't even come close to the surface. But let me say this before I get off. When them food trucks begin being unmanned due to men being unwilling to man them, and or the fact that the economy becomes such trash that the food becomes low, I would say you're gonna regret men, because I don't think y'all are the generation of no regrets. Y'all see us as just these disposable tools that's just to be used, abused, chewed up and used up and discarded when it ain't no further use for us. So I ain't gonna sit up here and say that you gonna feel sorry. You might feel sorry, but I'll tell you this much: you will experience. You will feel the effects of exploiting us, of using and abusing us, and working us pennies on the dollar, and moving us away from jobs that we could have very well been in. Because I hear there's a police shortage. I hear there's a serviceman shortage in the military. Men don't want to do it. I mean, well, look at your culture. For one thing, look at your economy and look at your culture. You've been trying to sissify men for years now, and you wonder why these sissy ass niggas don't want to pick up no rifle and shoot them some Russians. Amongst many other reasons, because they might just be politically aware of the agenda that's going on, amongst many other things. But even if it was a war worth fighting, they wouldn't want to do that. And it's probably because we're most likely liable to shoot you instead. Because I'm still here. I ain't worried about no Russians. Or at least the ones in Russia anyway. Because there's a whole gang of Russians out here. I ain't worried about them. And I ain't worried about the Russians in their homeland. That ain't the enemy. Y'all the enemy. You the op to the powers that be. You're the op. You're the problem. And men have finally woken up, and we refuse to be exploited and continue to be exploited by a serpent, by something as serpentine and draconian as you. We're done. So I say good luck to you. Good luck to a manless society. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck with that. I guess there's gonna be more single parent homes. Not to follow suit of that. Not to mention, not to mention the fact that I hear the government's cutting off, if it hasn't started already, gonna be cutting off, like all that, food stamps, all this Section 8, all them little benefits and set-asides that go to Section 8 housing and single moms. Hey, good luck to child support. And yeah, it's too late to even talk about that. It's too late to talk about the whole child support thing, as far as why men are giving up. But that's just one of many elements of why men are putting down the hard hats and the helmets. What those men have to go through dealing with child support. They whole check. Not $20, not $40, like insurance, or like, medical insurance or health insurance, like how you may have to pay $5-6 in that, or dental insurance. No, your whole check going to some garbage ass female that you was dumb enough to nut up in. Men have said enough is enough. And that's a time that couldn't have come any sooner. I don't know if y'all heard that. That sounded like some gunshots. See? It's getting even out here. You can't escape it. It's crazy. I'm positive those were gunshots. It's crazy. That right there, I don't know what I heard that. It was loud. That in and of itself is, because when I first came out here in 2017, I wasn't worried about no gunshots. But it's spreading. It's spreading like cancer. The downfall of this country. And it's coming to a home near you. And for all the people who did everything in their might and power to make this happen, I hope you suffer. Shit. I think I saw an owl. Yeah, it's really time to get the fuck up out of here. There's a big ass bird flying around. But I hope you suffer, for all you motherfuckers who have exploited us and just done the most to make our lives a living hell. I hope you suffer tenfold what you tried to inflict on us, hoping that you would destroy us, hoping that you would walk away with cash in your hand, so you on a yacht sipping pina coladas while we up here, bodies all fucked up and mangled up from years of service to you. Or if we didn't die in your stores getting shot because you were too greedy to even guarantee our goddamn safety, AutoZone. I hope you suffer the most. What you put us through, Babylon, I say you receive that sevenfold. No, tenfold. May you receive that tenfold. Because, I'm going to go and get off before this damn thing cuts off. But, I was looking at what happened in what's been going on down south with that hurricane. And as terrible as that is, that's pretty much where I'm from. I'm from the South. You think I feel sorry for the South as a collective, as a whole? No. Do I feel sorry for the most innocent down there? Of course I do, especially the children. But as a collective, do I feel sorry for Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and parts of Tennessee, as well as all the other foolishness that's been going on there, particularly in the Mid-South, even though that's not the rest of the South, that's, along with Memphis being the hub, that's basically West Tennessee, East Arkansas, and North Mississippi. But all the evil that's happening in these places, because I've been watching the news, I still watch Channel 3. But the South as a collective, America as a collective, when calamity strikes, I'm not sitting up there wiping no tears. I'm like, no, you getting your comeuppance. You getting your recompense. And men walking away from these garbage-ass exploitative jobs, and men walking away from these garbage-ass exploitative, narcissistic, manipulative-ass females in this country, that's the tip, that's not even the icing on the cake. Not even the icing on the cake. That's just the beginning of the woes and the horrors to come. That, as horrible as it is, as terrible as it is, I'm here to say are well warranted. So I'll catch y'all in the next video. I'm out.